Thank you for joining me in the Red Rocking Chair today. I have another story for you. It is a very special story. It is called Talking Tulips Above and Beyond, and it was written by Susan B. Mitchell. Susan is my sister, and so that's so special to me. In this book, she wrote me a note to Mary and Brian Jones. May we choose to be grateful like the people in this story, Dad's story. And down here she says, my love to you, Susan B. Mitchell. Isn't that special? The next page has someone very special on it too. This is Evan Billings, my dad. It says, based on a true story as told by Airman Evan A. Billings of the U.S. Army Air Corps. Let's get reading. This story is about Evan and about Meta, this little girl Meta. And if you watch, when the story is about Meta, the pictures will be on this side. And when the story is about Evan, the pictures will be on this side. Watch for that. Here we go. Meta watched as her father took down the red, white, and blue flag that had hung over her house for as long as she could remember. Mother was crying. We must be strong, her father said. Still, he could not bring himself to hang up the new flag. His country was neutral. Holland wanted no part of the war. Then why were they losing so much of their freedom? Evan hung the red, white, and blue flag over the family porch and saluted it. His mother was crying. Her son was barely old enough for the Army Air Corps uniform he wore. Be strong, said father. One last time, the young soldier looked into the eyes of his would-be sweetheart, and then he left. He was off to war. His country needed him to help save their precious freedoms. Nazi soldiers marched into Meta's classroom and pulled down the flag even when the schoolmaster told them not to. They laughed at him. You belong to us now, they said as they hung up a new flag. Meta's heart filled with fear. Allied soldiers rallied for the cause of freedom. They came from many lands, speaking many languages. Together they had to stop the Nazi army in its quest to control the world. Evan took courage in the fact that they were united in their hearts. Below smoky skies, Meta looked out of the cottage window with a frown on her 7-year-old face. She could see her father working in the tulip fields and wanted to be with him. He used to take her with him everywhere, but not anymore. Too dangerous, he told her. There's a terrible war going on, and we are caught in the thick of it. Above the smoky clouds, Evan looked out of his B-17 bomber. Other planes flew so close that their wings almost overlapped in tight formations to prevent enemy planes from separating them. World War II had wrapped itself around the world like a dark, scratchy blanket. Evan, a 19-year-old airman, sat right in the middle of it. Can you see him there? He's right up here in his top turret. Top turret is where he would shoot the guns at the airplanes that were coming to try and shoot them down. Meta was hungry, so hungry that her tummy hurt. There was no food in the house. There was no food in the stores. There was no food in all of the Netherlands. Nazi soldiers had blown up the dikes and flooded the fields. They closed every road and no one could leave and nothing could get in. Meta didn't like war. She didn't like the bombs that hurt people and broke things. She didn't like the tulip bulbs her mother boiled to eat. She was hungry, so very hungry. Evan was tired of the Army K rations that always left him feeling hungry. On certain days before each bombing mission, he and his crew were given a steak and potato dinner. Around the table, they talked about their Allied forces surrounding the Nazi soldiers. Our men are holding them in place, someone said. The Netherlands is blocked by land and by sea. We'll starve those Nazis out, someone else said. What about the innocent people? What are they doing for food? Evan wondered. The people that lived there. Meta cringed every time the warplanes flew over her tulip fields. You must stay alert, her father said. When you hear a siren, run for the shelter. Meta watched the street for enemy soldiers. and listen for the marching feet. She didn't like to see the guns that they carried or the spider symbols on their uniforms and flags. She wanted them to go away. Why did they keep coming day after day? Evan cringed every time he heard the order, "Bombs away!" He watched the sky for enemy jets. "Stay alert," the pilot said. "They're coming from behind." Evan swung around and aimed the big guns. He didn't like to use them. Oh, how he wanted to go home. Day after day, he climbed back into the top turret for a noisy ride across the sky. You see him here? This bump on top is the turret. These are his big guns. And he could turn around and shoot front and back and sideways, wherever the enemy planes were coming from. Meta lay in the darkness, unable to sleep. Mother kissed her forehead and gently positioned her golden braids. "Think of happy times," she encouraged. Meta closed her eyes and pictured Grandma's house, her flower garden, and her smiling face. She longed to visit and put on an apron so she could help bake cookies. Will I ever see Grandma again? Evan laid restlessly on his cot, only hours away from the next bomb run. He closed his eyes to picture happier times with his family in his little cozy farmhouse. How he longed to taste his mother's apple pie, to pet Tippy, his faithful dog, and to kiss Miss May, the girl he planned to marry. Will I ever see her again? He wondered. Bomber planes were loud and frightening to hear. They seemed to pass over at any time, day or night. Meta tried to be brave, even though the sound of them turned her empty stomach. Sometimes she sang songs to the baby and tried to make him laugh about all the noise. Bomber planes would shake and rattle as they roared through the sky. Evan tried to be brave even when he could see through the holes left from the flak explosions in his airplane. Often he tried to joke with the other crewmen who were also trying to be courageous. The Netherlands was filled with starving people. Lack of nourishment made Meta so frail and so weak she could no longer run for the shelter when she heard the planes coming. Yet she sensed something was different. Never had they flown this low before, low enough to buzz the windmills. And when she looked up, she thought she saw an airman wave at her. These planes didn't have the spider symbols on them. "Meta, Meta," her father called, "come and see." His voice was happy. People laughed and hugged each other. "Look at these bombs, Meta. They are food bombs from our allied friends." Can you see? They're dropping boxes, not bombs. Boxes of food. With food in her tummy at last, Meta hurried to help. Slipping into her wooden work shoes, she started for the muddy tulip fields. The dark night filled with happy singing voices of neighbors and kinfolk working side by side. No one went to bed. Meta hauled away bucket loads of red tulip tops. With a full heart, Evan slept well for the first time in months. Early the next morning, he loaded more boxes of K rations onto the bomb bay for another food drop. Evan listened to the talk in his headphones. His crew hoped that the good people trapped below had found the food bombs, if only there was a way to be sure. Suddenly, loud cheering jerked the plane. Yesterday's mission had been a success. How did he know? Meta's tulips told him, loud and clear, in a way he would never forget. They had carved away in the tulips the words, "Thanks, Yanks." The people were thanking them for dropping food, and you can see the shadow of the B-17 bomber flying over. Yanks is short for Yankee. They call the Americans the Yankees. So they said, "Thanks, Yanks." Isn't that a wonderful story? And it's a true story about your great-grandpa, written by my sister. Hope you have a wonderful day. Sure love you.